Hello and welcome to another episode of The Losers Win Again. I am your host, Jacob Brown, and we are here to talk about 3 strategies that no one is doing in Underdog Bestball tournaments. And guys, these strategies, they can make you sick. They are very risky and not for the faint at heart. This is not your typical 0 RB approach. This is not your 3 RB approach. This is not the week 17 approach that's been popping off here as of late. This is an approach that no one is talking about. And quite frankly, the main reason why is it's very risky. But when there becomes a high risk, there becomes an opportunity for a high reward. And that's basically what these strategies are. Look, we're trying to win $2 million in the Bestball Mania 3. We're trying to win $500K in the puppy. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get on to this video. But before we do, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like the content. And we'll be dishing out these videos all summer long, guys, as long as I see some feedback. And I hope I do. We'll be pushing out these types of videos because we're trying to win $2 million. We're trying to win $500K. And I think this is a great way to start. So let's go ahead and get after it. 2 things you need to know before we get into these strategies is number 1, ADP does not matter when using these strategies. Look, usually I'm all for ADP, and I'm not saying that this is the only way to go in these best ball tournaments with the Underdog Bestball Mania 3 and the Underdog Puppy. I'm not saying these 3 strategies are the only ways you should go. I'm saying that there is opportunity and high risk in these strategies, but there could be high reward if you get a couple things right. Number 2, lock in on 4 teams is key. If you could lock in on a certain team and get it completely right, you got to get that one thing right, and you could be up on a lot of people. Take Cooper Kupp, for instance, because I got him the cover boy of this slide. He was being taken as like the wide receiver 15. Nobody was thinking about Cooper Kupp being the best wide receiver in all of football last year. But the people who got him, they did great, along with their other players that they rostered, of course. That's just something to think about here. You're basically drafting a team to outperform their ADP. If you're drafting, let's say you're drafting number 3 in the draft, and the draft board saying you got to take Cooper Kupp or you got to take Justin Jefferson, but you really want Stephon Diggs because you want to do a Bill stack, take Diggs at 3. Yeah, he's might be projected to go like 9th or 10th, maybe even in the 2nd round, but that does not matter when using these strategies. And I think this is the right time to go ahead and kick off the first strategy. First strategy we're going to talk about is 4 team stacks by divisions. And a perfect example here is the AFC West. This could be possibly the highest scoring division in all of football next year. If you stack this division and only the players from that division, I'm talking about you can't draft nobody else, just these 4 divisions and the players that are in them, you could definitely have a high risk, high reward, because this very well could be the best division in football. So much star power here, which could involve you getting sniped, of course, but there's ways to get around doing that. Like I was saying earlier, take players out of ADP. If you got the 5th pick in the 1st round, instead of taking Derrick Henry, take Devontae Adams, take Travis Kelce, something like that, just to throw off the rhythm of the draft. But yeah, I've done about 16 drafts so far, and I've used some of these strategies, and I'm loving it. I'm loving what I get. It's a little tough to get Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Justin Herbert. But if you can pair maybe Justin Herbert with Derek Carr, or Russell Wilson and Derek Carr, you could very well be very successful, because you will still have players from the other teams, like let's say if you got Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen, but you couldn't get Mike Williams, you still got an opportunity to go out there and get Courtland Sutton. You still got an opportunity to go out there and get Sky Moore. And another thing that I've been trying to do too is, like, let's say I got Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson in the draft. Well, I didn't get the Raiders, and I didn't get the Chargers quarterbacks. So I would go out there and try to get their running backs. Isaiah Spiller, he's supposed to be the backup to Austin Eckler. If you don't get Eckler in that first pick, you could easily go after Isaiah Spiller, who's projected to get a great workload. And you can go into the later rounds and get guys like Josh Jacobs, who are projected to be very good this year. And you're not going to be missing out, because you still get the high upside receivers, along with some upside in the running game. But in a nutshell, that's all this is, and luckily I have an example to kind of play it out for you. A perfect example to explain the 4-team stacks by division strategy is the NFC East. In this draft, I went and got Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, and like I was saying previously, if I only get, in this case, Jalen Hurts and Daniel Jones, and I did not get Dak Prescott or Carson Wentz, I want to get their running backs. So I went Zeke and Antonio Gibson, and then Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, and J.D. McKissick. Not the best running back tree, of course, but these do have upside. Zeke, Antonio Gibson, you don't have their quarterbacks, but you do got the running game. And also, we went and got CeeDee Lamb. This draft was meant to get Dak Prescott, but we waited a little too long. Or we didn't wait not long enough. Let's just put it that way. And we got sniped. But I went and got CeeDee Lamb. And then I got the pairing of A.J. Brown with Jalen Hurts, which is going to be huge. Terry McLaurin, looking to have a resurgent year. I think he's going to be a top 15 wide receiver this year with Carson Wentz throwing him the ball. I have a video talking about that in great detail. Kadarius Toney, he's probably the 1B to Kenny Galladay's 1A, but I still have a feeling that Kadarius Toney right now is a better receiver than Kenny Galladay, and I will take Kadarius Toney over Galladay any day of the week. Then you got the injured Michael Gallup. We're hoping that he can return by week 4. That's what the Cowboys are hoping for. Week 4 is a good timetable for him. Then we got the rookie Jahan Dotson, also the rookie Jalen Tolbert, and James Washington. So that's a pretty decent receiving pair. And then you went Dallas Goedert at tight end, Logan Thomas, and Ricky Seals-Jones. Ricky Seals-Jones is now on the Giants. Like I said before, you only got to get a couple things right. When you're doing these types of drafts, when you're doing 4-team stacks by divisions, if Jalen Hurts is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, you already won a great deal, because you got his 2 high-volume pass catchers in A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert. I really love this draft. I wish I could have got Dak along with Jalen Hurts. But yeah, I really feel good about this draft. And some side notes to highlight in this draft is when drafting the NFC East, the Cowboys are were the number one scoring offense last season. That's huge. I mean, they probably won't be the number one scoring offense again this year, but I could see them still being in the top 10. And then another thing too is the Eagles and Giants are top 4 in the strength of schedule, so that means they have the easiest schedule. They're in the top 4. I think they're like 2-3 or 3-4. We'll get to that here in a little bit, but that's just some things I'm thinking about when I'm targeting these divisions. I've typically been I've done 16 drafts, and I've targeted like 4 divisions: the AFC West, the NFC East, the NFC North, and I believe the AFC East are the 4 divisions I've done so far. I think this is a high risk, high reward, because you're going to have to get a few things right to have this team blow up. So I think this is a strategy you should be doing. The 4 team stacks by divisions is the way to go if you're looking to take some risk. The second strategy you should be taking that no one is talking about in best ball underdog tournaments is drafting by top scoring teams of last year. This probably isn't the best strategy to go by because a lot of things happen over the offseason. There's suspensions, there's injuries, there's trades, there's free agent signings, there's the players that lead the teams they were on the year before. But there is some trends. Tampa Bay has been a top offense for the last 3 seasons. The Saints have been in the top 10 for the last 3 seasons. There's a lot to look at here. But yeah, I like to pair these teams up in the 4s, like I was saying in previous slides here. But breaking off these teams in the 4s, stacking those 4 teams together, just those teams, and seeing what you can get. And I have a perfect example of drafting teams by top scoring teams of last year right here. The strategy I took here was pretty simple. I took the top 4 teams and scoring last year, and I stacked them. Those 4 teams only, and the teams were the Cowboys, the Buccaneers, the Bills, and the Chiefs. So let's go ahead and run through this draft here. I got Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady at quarterback. I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tony Pollard, Ronald Jones, Keyshawn Vaughn, and Isaiah Pacheco as my running backs. And for wide receiver, I went out and got Mike Evans, Gabriel Davis, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MVS, Michael Gallup, McCole Hardman, Jalen Tolbert, Isaiah McKenzie, and Justin Ross. Then I went out and got Travis Kelce, Dalton Schultz, and O.J. Howard. While this may not be the best example of what these top 4 teams could do, I want to say first and foremost, use all the teams. What I'm doing is I'm locking in on 4 teams, and I'm tiering them. So obviously the Cowboys, the Bucks, the Bills, and the Chiefs were tier 1. And tier 1's probably going to be really hard to get because everyone's probably trying to get these star players, and they're high up in the draft boards. But as you trickle down, you're going to get some teams in a pairing that you can just get all day long. I haven't gone deep enough into the strategy just yet. Like I said, I've only drafted 16 drafts, but you got to lock in on 4 teams. That's the idea. I think tiers 3 and 4 are going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, so use teams 1 through 32 for this strategy. lock in on 4 teams. I've tiered them off by 4s. And let the onslaught games begin. There's definitely ways you can get huge Tom Brady onslaughts, huge Patrick Mahomes onslaughts, Dallas Cowboys onslaughts. You name it, you can do it. And let the games begin. So this is one of the strategies no one's talking about in fantasy football, best ball drafts for tournaments, stacking the top scoring teams from last year. The third strategy that no one's doing in underdog best ball tournaments is drafting by strength of schedule. Drafting by strength of schedule, almost the exact same thing as tiering the top scoring divisions of last year. I have tiered out 4 teams, the top 4 to the bottom 32, and I drafted those teams. And you don't have to do it that way. I mean, you could do the top 2 teams in tier 1 and the bottom 2 teams in tier 2. Whatever you want to do. But the strategy I've been going by, I've tiered these teams 1 through 32 by 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. 7 divisions, or 7 tiers. And that's what I've gone by. And my idea behind this is think about the Cincinnati Bengals a year ago. Before we knew they were in the Super Bowl, before we knew Joe Burrow was Joe Cool in the NFL. No one, people were drafting, of course, Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, but no one thought they were going to be that good. It was just real unpredictable. I mean, there's games where T. Higgins and Jamar Chase both could have 25, 30 points. And both of them in the same game. By doing this strategy, you can find the next Cincinnati Bengals team. You can find the next Arizona Cardinals that just blew everybody out of the water the first 12 weeks of the season. Doing this strategy, if you get 2 or 3 things right in your draft, you're way above everybody else. And that's that high risk, high reward that I've been talking about. So here's a perfect example of drafting by strength of schedule. In using the drafting by strength of schedule strategy, we took the top 4 teams with the easiest schedules this season, and the New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Indianapolis Colts, and the Chicago Bears. In this strategy, I got at quarterback Justin Fields and Daniel Jones. At running back, I took Saquon Barkley and David Montgomery, Naheem Hines, and Kenneth Gainwell. At wide receiver, I feel like we won huge. I took A.J. Brown, Michael Pittman, Darnell Mooney, Devontae Smith, Kadarius Toney, Kenny Galladay, Alec Pierce, Byron Pringle, Felix Jones, and Quez Watkins. That's a pretty deadly wide receiver core, if you ask me. I got 10 wide receivers here. Typically, you like to go 8 to 9. But we got 10 here because we couldn't get the third quarterback in Matt Ryan. And we couldn't get a third tight end in Mo Alley Cox like we wanted to. We got sniped. But I still feel like this is a good team. At tight end, we got Dallas Goedert and Cole Kmet. Both solid tight ends. And again, we got a great onslaught here. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. Great onslaught. Even the Chicago onslaught, because you got big question marks. After Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet, you don't really have a solidified starter. Who's going to get the other amount of target share. I mean, you know Darnell Mooney, what he's capable of. You know what Cole Kmet is capable of. Byron Pringle, he's a new member to this team. He's used to playing with Patrick Mahomes. I know Patrick Mahomes made him look a lot better. But can he look good with Justin Fields? Is he really even considered the number 2 receiver now that the Bears drafted Velus Jones? I believe they drafted him in the 4th or 5th round. I mean, spending somewhat high draft capital on a wide receiver, you would think they would get the opportunity before someone like Byron Pringle. But Byron Pringle could also be a leader in this receiver role. He's been in the league for a while. I believe this is like his 5th or 6th season. So he could be there to lead his team. So yeah, we got the options though. With Justin Fields, we got the top 4 options in Darnell Mooney, Byron Pringle, Velus Jones, and Cole Kmet. Also picked up some key Colts guys, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce. They seem like they're going to be involved in the passing game heavily, with Naheem Hines being there as well, getting some of the pass catching role. We know Matt Ryan likes to throw to his backs. Nothing new there. But yeah, key notes here. Lock in on the 4 teams. Just like I was saying in the schedule, strength of schedule, I mean not the strength of schedule, the top scoring teams of last year. Lock in on teams of 4. Create tiers of 4, 1 through 32. Stack those 4 teams up as much as possible. Pretty simple stuff. And I feel like these are strategies that no one's talking about for best ball underdog tournaments. But it's something to take advantage of with the high risk, high reward factor. Basically, take your shot and take a stance and feel confident about the stance you're taking. And I feel like I did that in this draft. There you have it for the losers win again. Let me know what you think about the video. Do you agree with any of these strategies? Will you be using these strategies? Or am I just a complete idiot? Drop those opinions down in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think. I really took some time in developing these strategies. I haven't heard anyone else talk about these strategies. I would like to see what you guys think, so please give me some feedback. And like I've already said before, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Subscribe to my links down in the description. I got an Instagram, a TikTok, and a Patreon. Would love to see you guys drop through. We're going to be dropping a lot of best ball content throughout the summer, along with Draftkings content starting into the regular season. As for now, I am the losers win again. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.